Hi, I'm Danica Tormolin, VP of Content with Trade Show News Network by Informa, and we are here at the National Restaurant Association show in Chicago this weekend. And I am joined by Darren Phalen, who is the Chief Operating Officer of Maritz. So welcome, Darren. Thanks for taking some time with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Danica, for taking the time with us. Yeah.
Great. Okay, so tell us a little bit about what services that Maritz provides for the restaurant show.
Sure. Maritz has had the privilege of being partnered with the restaurant show for over 12 years, and we provide comprehensive pre-registration, on-site registration, and comprehensive exhibitor services to us. So, lead retrieval, things of that nature. And really being a part of part of that partnership for 12 years, it's been an evolution. We started as a service provider, and we've evolved into a strategic partner.
So, what initiatives or projects have you and your team been focused on for the restaurant show this year?
Yeah, so the restaurant show is part of Informa, and Maritz has a partnership with Informa for more than 30 of their events. And so really what we've been working on is across that Informa portfolio, helping them to consolidate their data and putting together, again, actionable insights in that data as to what they can be doing across their broad portfolio of shows. And really, that partnership continues with trying to make sure that their exhibitors are always getting the return on investment, because the exhibitors are truly, they're the customer of the show organizer. And then ultimately the attendee, they're the ones that they're going to bring this all together, right? And so that seamless registration, that fast flow, and that on-site where they can get their badge in a heartbeat, not wait in those long lines, all of that is what ultimately brings success to our partners.
Any new tech that you're deploying here in terms of registration to help make it go faster, or the data more seamless, gathering,
Sure.
etc.?
Yeah, I mean, faster registration. You'll see downstairs we've got what we call scan and go. And again, we're moving through. I think we peaked around 4,000 per hour this morning. But ultimately, we've got the 51,000 plus to move through, and it's a big challenge, right? But ultimately, technology like that helps them move through. Outside of that, our main focus, we've got a few different areas. One we're calling universal ID. And so again, for Informa and for a broader portfolio like that, what they want to do is understand what people go from event to event and show to show within their family of events.
Sure.
And so that universal ID is going to be a way for us to kind of track and monitor that, so that once Danica has come to one show and she goes to the next one, we already know who you are, know your preferences, know maybe even some of your demographic answers and things of that nature. So universal ID is going to have a huge impact on clients like Informa. We're also working with Attendee Connect, which is a technology that really, it's not a bolt-on, exists right within our app, where attendees can scan each other's badges.
Yeah.
So instead of just an exhibitor scanning you when you get to a booth, we can scan each other's badges and get immediate connection with real, I've got your full information. I can take notes about you. I can talk about, so it's not just me trying to pass you my phone number or the old business card or things of that nature. Next up, we've got our Empower data dashboard. So it's a actionable dashboard that our show organizers can look at minute to minute, day to day, where it shows them, again, that real-time tracking of how many per hour are we getting through. What percentage of those coming in are exhibitors? What percentage are attendees? What percentage are, press or things like that?
Yeah.
We can see all of that live on a dashboard, and it gives them a better understanding of the flow of maybe next year. That's going to give us insights into when we should have more coverage in certain areas, or when we should be prepared more for a rush, things of that nature. So it's really, again, doing everything we can to make data actionable.
Yeah.
And then the last piece we're working on is self-service registration. That really is going to be kind of a big step in our future, again, for clients like Informa, who might have smaller shows, smaller events that don't require a giant custom reg platform. We're going to be able to work with them on those smaller events, and still consolidate their data and make the experience the same across that entire portfolio.
But have them be able to do
Exactly.
the self.
Yeah. So
registration.
Informa themselves could actually build the site and could actually launch registration.
What industry trends are you seeing in the hospitality industry that could influence exhibitor behavior, attendee engagement, or revenue performance?
Yeah, well, of course, I'd be lying if I didn't say that, geopolitical and economic concerns, they're the forefront. And we are starting to see that rising fuel costs, things like that, might be not necessarily stopping people from coming to an event, but it might stop, say, an exhibitor from sending their entire team to sending a smaller number. One of the things that we're counting on, we all felt and saw COVID with those headwinds. Well,
Yeah.
this industry came back. There is a need for that face-to-face connection. And so we're counting on one of the things we saw coming out of COVID, even though not as many people came to an event, what we saw was it was a higher quality attendee. And
Yeah.
what I mean by that is the exhibitors were getting direct connections to C-level, to people with buying power. And so even though attendance might have shrunk a little bit, it was quality that improved. So, that face-to-face, it's never going to go away. It's just a matter of, how do we react and what do we see as far as attendance looks like?
Yeah. So when you look ahead to the second half of the year, how are things looking in the second half of the year? And what are some of the things that you're excited about?
Yeah, I mean, really, again, geopolitical stuff is always going to be a concern. But I think, we work in association and trade shows mostly,
Yeah.
and those plan 10 years out, not just 6 months out. And so, we already know what the rest of the year's got coming up as far as those events are going to happen. It's going to be a matter of who comes to those events, what do those events look like, and what can we do to help the show organizer and the exhibitors maximize their experience, right? Because they're all looking for a return on why they're here. So if we can get them better actionable data, at the end of the day, that's going to really be the big piece. And all of that points to AI, right? AI
Yeah.
is the future of what everybody's working with, everybody's looking at.
Yeah.
And so we're looking to apply that for the show organizers. We're implementing AI within that actionable data that we're giving them. And we, of course, at Maritz are utilizing AI to see how we can improve productivity and, really help our teams utilize those tools to make us more productive, to bring a better quality product to our client.
Can you give me any good examples of like a specific AI usage of how you're using it to help with reports or to help with, efficiencies?
Sure, certainly. So one of the things we're going to be releasing a data tool later this year called Sigma, which is going to allow a show organizer to ask real-time questions, much like you see with AI, where they can go, hey, what does my run rate look like this year of attendance, of people from the Northeast versus the last 3 years? And you're going to get an immediate answer, which is something we could have done before, but it would have taken multiple custom reports to be built. It would have taken, several people to try and parse through that data and figure that out. And then outside of that, on our own teams, it feels like every day we build a new AI agent that's helping us to just learn and understand, what it used to be one employee that had been at your company for 20, 30 years, they had it all in their head and they wrote it down in manuals to help people. Well, if you feed that to an agent now, they become that employee, right? Now you can ask that agent a question and say, hey, how does this work? And that agent has the exact knowledge that employee spent 30 years building and can answer those questions. So AI is really, it's frightening how quickly it's moving, but it's also amazing how efficient it's making us become.
Yeah. Helping just free up time to do other more higher level.
Exactly. Well, and to
work.
deliver more quickly, more seamlessly, and a better product for our clients. AI can improve so much of what we do.
So I have a kind of, I'm going to step back a little. So to tell us a little bit about what you do in your day-to-day job as COO
Sure.
of Maritz.
Yeah. So I head up our entire registration and lead effort.
Okay.
Maritz does a whole lot of other things, but registration and lead, primarily it's all pre-registration. So we're building registration sites on site. So it's getting these 50,000 plus people through the show. And then it's all of those tech teams building new products, all of that sort of piece. So my day-to-day is I've got about 500 team members that I get to work with directly that are all applying this across, I want to say it's over 250 clients. And it's
Wow.
delivering those events and delivering those shows. We actually, look at the largest trade shows in the country, and of the top 100, Maritz works with over 70% of those on registration and lead. So we get to do some of the largest events, and get to see great things happening all the time within this industry.
So you service a lot of the larger shows, but then also runs the gamut, right? You
You
work on a lot of smaller shows too.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we've got a few thousand people events, and then we've got 200,000 people.
But about
events.
250 total.
That's clients.
Yeah.
So outside,
Okay.
but
Got
one of
it.
those clients might be Informa,
Yeah.
who has 30 plus events.
Yeah.
So the
Okay.
number of events I can't even pull off the top of my head, but it's up there.
So what was your biggest win so far this year? What's one thing that happened that you were really excited about?
I like to take it one show at a time, and so I'd say our biggest success so far this year is what you're looking at. It's this phenomenal show. Really, it's been a great launch, a great opening day, and we know that's going to carry right through the end.
Yeah. And what about challenge? What's one thing that keeps you up at night right now?
Right now, so 2 years ago, Maritz acquired Convention Data Services, and we've spent the last 2 years integrating those two companies together. And that's a lot of work. There's been a tremendous amount of work behind the scenes. Maritz has been a great landing place for the Convention Data Services employees and team members. But that's the challenge that keeps me up at night, is making sure all of those teams are coming together while we're still delivering incredible shows for our clients.
Okay, one last thing. What's one piece of advice that you have for some show organizers that you work with, maybe somebody that's newer in the industry that's, handling registration or handling a big event for the first time? Any advice for them?
Yeah, I would say don't get overwhelmed by the complexity. All of these events have a ton of complexity. Find yourself partners that are willing to lean into those complexities with you and navigate your way through them. I think too often people try to simplify events, and people try to simplify how an attendee experiences an event. And I don't think simplification is the answer. I think personalization is the answer. And if we can lean into, how people personally experience events and lean into what it is they want to see and what it is they want to experience, then it just makes everybody's experience better, and it amplifies the event. So don't get overwhelmed by the complexity, lean into it.
Yeah, and also use the technology and
That's
AI
right.
that
Yeah.
companies like you can make available for
It's,
them.
find someone that doesn't just want to be a contract partner. Find someone that wants to be a strategic partner, that wants to help understand how to amplify your event and how to make it better every year.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you
Awesome.
so much
Yeah,
for
thank
spending a
you.
few minutes of your time with us today, Darren. So
Absolutely. Thank you. And let's get back to a great show.
that's right.
Awesome.
So for TSNN, I'm Danica Tormolen.